how you're raised makes you who you are. And I actually worked at several churches with the youth, and I had a calling, but I had too much responsibility to follow that calling then, so I got married and we had 4 kids, and at that point I couldn't follow the calling either except to work in churches. And I worked at Mount Zion. We were there for 27 years. I worked with the youth there, and one Sunday night God hit me with a 2x4 in the back of the head and said, "It's time. Your kids are about grown. Your wife is working. You can do this." So I told the preacher that God's been calling me for a long time. I have run as quick and fast as I could, and he has told me it's time. So I went through the process and did everything I needed to do. Went to Emory University, and then when I got out of there, my first church was in Dalton, Georgia. I had one of the best experiences with that group that I have had in ministry. During church one day, this lady came in, and I had just finished License to Preach school, so I had not been to school yet when I got Bethel. And one of the ushers came and got me and said, "There's a lady crying in the foyer. Would you go talk to her?" And I said, "Sure, I'd love to." And when I got back there, she said, "My daddy is a veteran and he's dying, and he wants to be baptized, and we belong to a Baptist church, and they won't do that unless we can get him into the church." Well, being just out of License to Preach school, I was not supposed to do that. I was only supposed to baptize, serve communion to the people that were members of Bethel. So I got some of the members of my church to meet me there, and we went the next Saturday morning, and I took my robe and all the stuff I needed for that, and there were probably 50 people crammed into that little trailer, and it was all their family and children and grandchildren, and we baptized Mr. Holden and had a great celebration, and Lola had fixed dinner for all of us, and it was really good. So the next week I had to call the DS, had been out of town, so I couldn't ask him, and I confessed my sins, and he said, "Bill, you did the right thing. Always err on the side of grace." So that has been my motto when I teach congregational care classes. If you are somewhere at a hospital and you're dealing with somebody that's dying, ask the nurse for a cracker and a glass of water and give them communion. So always err on the side of grace. So that's one of the things I teach to those that are in training. And the group I'm training at Mount Bethel, if I do a hospital visit, they can do the follow-up visit. They could do the home visit when they go home from the hospital. They would report back to me if the family needs meals, if there are children there, and they will do whatever they need to do to care for that family till either the wife or the husband are able to get back to work or come back to church, and then I would assign them to somebody else. They're also trained to go once a month into an assisted living. And at the assisted living, they would bring pamphlets from the church, a bulletin from the church. We try to do anything we can to help the family know that's there, that they're not forgotten by the church. The church still loves and cares about them. There is nothing better than the human touch. It makes a big difference from being on the phone to be able to hold their hand. Or that lady asked me to pray for her, and I did, and I got to hold her hand and gave her a hug when it was over, and that brightened her day. Plus, getting the food and knowing that her church was taking care of her. And she's going to get meals for the next probably month or so until she gets better. The church is committed to take care of those members that need help. So I am blessed to be here at Mount Bethel.